Howdy, folks. We're live, Ek. I just
sorry, guys. I'm here.
Okay, but, we'll go right to the pre-show here with Russ. Go ahead, Russ.
Go ahead, Russ.
So yesterday, driving to New York, I was listening to ESPN radio, heard Mike Greenberg's show. It'd be nice if I ever did a show on any network that I work on and have an army of people the way he does. Seemingly has 4 or 5 people working on one small radio show. That would be just an amazing.
Yeah.
True.
Sorry, we don't give you that. We only have 3 interns and 2 assistants here, Russ.
Yeah, nobody gives me that. But that's okay. But
wait, you have interns?
Yeah. You want an intern? I got interns. I got interns coming out my ears.
I'll take Puck Craze model.
She's not an intern.
The interesting thing was they were talking about a few different things. One of them was the NFL schedule, which I find to be a bore. Yes. Another one was the gambling of the NHL schedule, which I find to be a bore, especially when you have no idea what these teams will be like in May compared to in September. But they did get to a baseball list of the top catchers of all time. And here's what I find interesting. So I've been wearing this shirt for a while. This is Josh Gibson.
All right, I thought we had a Russ Gone Wild moment there, Russ.
Nope.
Okay, so it's Josh.
That's Josh Gibson. And Mike and I have talked about Josh Gibson and Cool Papa Bell and a few others on this show and the game, the baseball show we do for many, many years, right? Now, all of a sudden, since Major League Baseball decided to count his statistics this year, he's been dead for probably 50 years. They decided to count it this year.
Right.
All of a sudden, he's coming up in lists and things like that. And so Cool Papa Bell was the number one guy, which is fine. He hit somewhere around 800 and 900 homers, depending on how much you believe the statistics, but he hit a lot of homers, right?
Gibson did, yes.
Oh, yeah, Gibson. Sorry, I said Cool Papa Bell. Gibson, I mean, as a catcher, which was more than Babe Ruth.
Right.
But the interesting thing was I didn't get stuck on the baseball list. I'll tell you where my brain got stuck. It got stuck on the fact that, well, now that the go-ahead with baseball gave ESPN the go-ahead almost to use these statistics and start interspersing them in different lists and whatever they do. When ESPN starts hockey, are they going to use WHA statistics and show what Gordie Howe really did, or are they going to stick to just the NHL statistics for someone like Gordie Howe when they come up with these lists? That's where my brain went.
Yeah.
No, but I'll tell you what they won't use WHA statistics because part of the component of this infusion of the Negro League statistics is sort of a woke approach by ESPN to include. Now, I have always thought Negro League statistics should be looked upon as valid statistics, but I think that baseball is doing it for the wrong reasons. They're not doing it because all of a sudden we realized that Satchel Paige was one of the greatest pitchers of all time. It's because of the culture right now. And if you exclude certain things, you're looked upon as being anti-racial. And I think that was a motivation for baseball.
Okay, that may be right. You may be right on that. But bringing it back to hockey for a minute now, and we'll let Ek comment on this too. Why not include the WHA statistics, especially for someone like Gordie Howe, who clearly dominated every league he was in, no matter what league he was in, no matter what age he was. Like, why does this still not count for him?
Yeah, it's a really it is. I kind of agree. I mean, there's a lot of debate there. I mean, the WHA teams, at first, I guess, weren't NHL quality, although there were some pretty good teams early on.
Some pretty good teams, though.
Because you got to remember there were way less NHL teams. You had some good quality players playing there, and you also had some stars going there for some money in the beginning, and then we did let them into the NHL eventually.
Right, but the thing is, like, okay, for example, WHA statistics are recognized by the Hockey Hall of Fame because WHA is hockey. Right. Just like with Vaclav Netamansky, who was inducted last year, but I don't think he got there was no ceremony. Most of his statistics were playing for Czechoslovakia, and I think he played for Toronto in the WHA before he played for the Detroit Red Wings. So it was international, WHA, and NHL.
Right.
So, but for the NHL, I mean, they're not going to recognize, Rosaire Paymont's statistics for whatever WHA team he played, or Mark Tardif or whoever. They only recognize the statistics for the NHL. That's their.
Well, and I'm telling you, I still think that's wrong, because the same reason that it should count for Josh Gibson. If you're hitting a homer, you're hitting a homer.
Right.
And the fact that he was a catcher makes it more amazing. The fact that he had more homers than Babe Ruth makes it amazing.
Yeah.
If you hit a homer, you hit a homer. If Gordie Howe scored a goal, he scored a goal. He scored 174 goals in the WHA. And the fact that that doesn't count anywhere but the Hockey Hall of Fame,
right,
is crazy to me.
And you can't use the argument with Josh Gibson, well, all he was doing was facing African-American pitchers and the league wasn't that good. But you could use the same thing about Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth played in a league that didn't allow black players, and he didn't face Satchel Paige or any of those pitchers who pitched in the Negro Leagues back then. So it's sort of like an equal argument in terms of the quality of play.
Look, I mean, to answer Esmir, no, the NHL will never consider KHL stats, but that's just because they're at odds. The WHA has been gone for many, 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 many years. At this point, they should ease up on this being like not talked about, not existing, not anything. Because again, for someone like Gordie Howe, he's not getting his full due. He's just not.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right, let's get going. I like that. That was good.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Hello, Hockey World. Today is Thursday, May 13th, 2021.
I'm Michael Agello, and happy 8th anniversary to the day that almost killed me.
Oh, God.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology. I don't know how to follow
Drink, everyone. All right, and I'm Eklund. You're watching HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast that comes every Monday through Friday to fill you in on the comings and goings in the hockey world. And Mike, of course, is talking about the famous high-sticking area.
No.
What incident are you discussing?
Today is the 8th anniversary of when you called me on the phone or texted me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought that's so I'm definitely to blame. I guess
you're at fault.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You're at fault. Yes.
I know. Just trying to be friendly. Yep. But I was just congratulating you after many, many years of horrifying,
never congratulate until it's over.
I've learned now. I didn't know 8 years ago exactly quite how touchy Leafs fans can be. So, and I get it. No, I won't do that again. That's for sure.
I'll just say this. I'll just say this as somebody who was watching that game, and I think I told Eck as he texted me, "This is not over with."
Yeah.
And then when I think it was Bergeron that tied the game, I was living in an apartment in downtown Buffalo, and I went out on the front porch, the patio, and just sat there, occasionally looking through the window at the TV at overtime, because I knew they were going to lose, but I just kept checking back, and then I saw the Bruins celebrate. It was a foregone conclusion. Anyway, so let's move on to more positive.
Way to stay positive, Mike.
Let us move on. I just got a text from the Florida Panthers about their schedule. This has been out for a while, probably, but
just released about an hour and a half ago.
Just released about an hour and a half ago. So May 16th, which is Sunday, right? Game 1.
May 16th is Sunday. Yes, that's right.
So 16th, 18th, 20th, 22nd. That works out pretty well for me because I will be in Florida. I will be in Tampa on May 22nd. I may have to go to that game. I will be in Florida next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, just for 4 days. So yeah, that's something I may have to. The 22nd may have to attend that one.
There you go.
That'd be good for sure.
Did they say something about 100% capacity?
Let's see. I'm reading what they say here. This is the schedule. Just reading as fast as I can. It doesn't seem to say anything about.
Well, I know there would have been 100% capacity had Dallas made the playoffs. I don't know whether Florida's following suit.
50% capacity.
50%. Okay. Well, that's
open at just under 50% capacity. It says for the first round playoff series against Tampa.
I'll just bring this up because I read this yesterday, because the Blue Jays are coming to Buffalo, and it's like this in New York State. Apparently, there is going to be like separate rules when it comes to vaccinated people and non-vaccinated people in New York, where if you go to Citi Field, if you're vaccinated and you have proof of vaccination, you can sit next to somebody who is vaccinated like you're.
Now, we talked about this at City Field yesterday, as a matter of fact, and because I was there. And the hard part about this is, so if I'm buying it online, I buy my ticket online, and then when I get there, now they have to sort of segregate the line,
Right.
because they're going to say vaccinated people here, show your stuff here, non-vaccinated. And then, so like, is the non-vaccinated person getting a lesser seat, a worse seat?
I think it's section by section, but here.
No, but I get it. But I'm just saying, somebody's getting to sit in the vaccinated section. Somebody's not going to sit in the vaccinated section if they're non-vaccinated. I kind of think the vaccinated people are going to get better seats. Don't you, Ek? It just seems like that's the way it's going to go.
You would think so. Yeah. I mean, and
it's a slippery slope if you think about it.
It is. It definitely is. I think that, it's a whole huge debate about whether you should get vaccinated or not, and all the different things.
I don't think it's a debate. Like I say, get vaccinated.
I don't think it's a debate at all. I agree. I agree 100%. And
but here's the hilarious thing, and we're talking about outdoor facilities: Citi Field, Salem Field, and Yankee Stadium. So you have a special one group, one area. Vaccinated people can sit next to each other. Unvaccinated people have to social distance. Okay, no problem. You're outdoors, and the vaccinated people, according to the release from the Buffalo Bisons today, still have to wear masks outside.
Right. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the reason. I wore mine yesterday for the simple fact that we don't know enough about the variant yet to say, even if I have a vaccination, that I can't pass it to somebody else. And I don't want to pass it to somebody else. So I wore my mask even outside, except for when I was eating, just because there may be a person that, what if I pass it to somebody?
Right. And there is a country.
People know the answer to that question.
Some country that where the variant is hitting vaccinated people pretty hard. Although it's not the American vaccines, so it's tough to say. Whether the vaccines here.
Bringing it back to hockey, one thing I'm concerned about, but still on this subject, is remember when the Sabres situation with the Devils broke out, the thing that the NHL did was take out the glass behind the bench for better air circulation. But now if you're going to have 50% of people in buildings, are they going to keep the areas behind the benches completely clear? Because
probably
I would think that they would, because one, there's no glass separation between the fans and the players, and I don't believe there's any stipulation in terms of vaccinated versus non-vaccinated in these buildings. So they probably are going to relegate the fans to the ends of the arenas and the upper decks and not to right behind the benches.
Right.
That'll be interesting. So, okay. Anyway.
So we did yesterday misspeak a little bit. So we're going to correct this, that the Colorado Avalanche still have a chance of winning the division.
I haven't been able to get an explanation on this because I looked at the standings. Okay.
Yeah.
And right now Vegas has 82 points and they have a record of 40, 14 and 2, 82 points. Okay. They're done. That's it. Colorado is 38, 13 and 4 and has one game remaining against LA tonight. If they win, they're tied in points and they have one less victory. How can they?
The ROWs they come into play, not victory.
I brought that up when we did another show. I brought up the ROW, and then somebody said simply the Avalanche win, they're in. But I don't know. Is it that simple?
No, it isn't. The Colorado Avalanche will clinch. This is from the NHL press release. The Avalanche will clinch the President's Trophy and the #1 seed in the Honda West Division if they defeat the Kings in any fashion. So, but the Vegas Knights will win, will clinch the President's Trophy and the #1 seed if they lose to the Kings in any fashion. So this is simply a win or lose situation for them tonight.
Well, I mean, okay,
so it is that okay.
They're not fully explaining it then.
No, because what if Vegas wins?
Right. Well, Vegas is done. Vegas is
done. That's the final thing. So,
but let me just clarify.
Yes.
Colorado, if they win tonight, they beat LA in any way. Then they're first place. But they would say they win in a shootout. They don't. They have less ROW.
No, I don't understand this either. Mike.
They have to win. They have to win in regulation.
The only thing.
No, they don't. It says.
I know what the NHL is saying, but it doesn't seem.
Well, the only thing I can think of, Russ, is that it's winning percentage because
it must be winning percentage over ROW.
Right, because they have 13 losses Vegas has 14. They'll have one less victory and one less loss and two more tie or two more loser points.
Yeah, but the losses are what really matters with their winning percentage.
Right. So they're
you're right. They must be basing it off winning percentage. Although the crazy thing about this is like tie-breaking.
Quasi? Is it quasi?
Quasi. The tie-breaking procedures.
That's what he said.
Blah blah blah. The tie-breaking procedures. The greater number of games won, excluding games won in overtime or by the shootout, is the figured in the right. Is the first tiebreaker? It's right here, and I don't understand.
Pete in the chat saying regulation wins. Mike, Vegas has 39. Colorado has 38 right now. If they win in regulation or overtime,
it's a tie for that.
It's a tie on that one. So it's a tie, but they have less wins. Period.
Can we? It would be nice. Can we just get back to a sport that has wins and losses?
Yeah, I
don't have to be mathematicians.
I don't understand how this is possible either. I really don't.
Now we have to be a mathematician to figure it out or talk about it.
I'm gonna text somebody at the league and see what I can find out. Just because this is.
I don't even care anymore. I just want the playoffs to start. Like I don't even care.
Very confusing. Very, very confusing. I don't see this. I don't see how this is possible.
I don't even think a team cares if they get the President's Trophy. How about that?
I think it matters a lot in this division because I don't think anybody.
No, it matters for the placement. I don't think they care if they see the trophy or hold it or anything.
Yeah. No, I don't think the President's Trophy matters as much as the not wanting to play Minnesota thing. Like I think that's significant because the Wild are a better team than the Blues. They really are. And the Blues have the
make that argument for sure.
The Blues have experience and everything like that, but right now the Wild are just a better team. So they got more depth.
According to Mike Chambers from the Denver Post, Colorado owns the playoff tiebreaker with an NHL high 34 regulation wins. Vegas has 30.
Well, then what the hell are they? What are we looking at?
Right, then why are we caring about anything else?
No, but look at the stand. No, what I'm saying is the standings on NHL.com are.
Yeah, but it's ROW. Regulation and
regulation.
Okay, so that's what we said on the other show. So we were right.
What is the difference between RW and ROW? My lord, I'm sorry.
Regulation and overtime, or just simply regulation.
Oh. Well, why do we?
Oh, so it's just RW, not ROW for this one.
I mean,
the regulation and overtime just doesn't count shootouts. Is that what we're saying? Okay, so
it's wins in regulation or overtime.
Is there going to be another ROWW column after this next year?
I thought ROW was regulation wins. I don't know why I don't. That's
regulation and overtime.
No, but act like why don't we just have an ROWWW category?
How about ROWWE and
I want the ROSs, regulation wins and shootout wins, but not wins in overtime. Let's see that column. I don't know. We should have 3 points for a regulation win. This would be all pointless. This would all be fine if we did that. But anyway, so they have so they can. Obviously, it's a matter of winning or losing against LA tonight, which is
they beat them 6-0 last night, and LA basically wants to get on a plane and go on vacation.
They do.
Wait, you're in LA. Where do you want to go on vacation?
Yeah, anywhere. I'm telling you. Have you ever been to? I'm not a fan of LA. Sorry, I'm not.
Baja. There you go.
Not a fan of LA at all. LA is a messed up. This is just my thing with LA, and
imagine Mike in the desert. Oh my god.
In LA,
skinnier.
The Kings went to 3 Stanley Cup Finals, so I went to LA 3 times to cover those Stanley Cup Finals, right? And every time I went out, there was the games, between games 3 and 4, games 1 and 2. You sit out there, you have like an extra day off in the middle, and you're sitting in LA for 3 days, and they're trying. I've got all these friends I've talked to for all these years. Like, whenever you come to LA, you got to come and see me. So I'm like, great, I'll make plans. I'll hook up with everybody. I'll connect with everybody.
You can't get there from there, though.
No, but everybody in LA is always too busy to get together when you get out there.
I know. I had the same. It's funny that you said that.
Really frustrating.
I've been there a couple times in like the last decade. Once for the All-Star game, once for the draft, and maybe one other time. And people always do want to see you. And then you realize when you try and set these things up, you can't do it.
No, because they have they blow you, or they'll blow you off at the last second. It's like really everything I've been everywhere I've gone, I've never run into that. It's not just me, people wanting to blow off all the time. Every other cities I go to, I don't run into that ever. But out there, it's
no, I've had that issue too.
All right, so okay, so let's see. I do know where to go when I'm out there. I know some really good places out there, and I've had to know why I know some good places because I've spent a lot of time by myself and had to learn them. Like, so I spent a lot of time wandering around the countryside by myself out there, and there are some fun places to go, but it is a frustrating town to be in. Sorry.
I go to In-N-Out Burger.
There's a better one. But In-N-Out Burger is the best fast food burger. But there's a really good burger place in West Hollywood, which I've been to a couple times, which is friggin' phenomenal.
And the world famous, I think it's Westwood Cemetery, where all the Hollywood people are buried, like Sinatra and
there's the restaurant that invented the Caesar salad, which is incredible. But
yeah. But again, that's like 50, 60, 70 years ago. It's like, honestly,
still to this day, the owner makes a table side, because that was like Caesar salads had to be made table side for some reason. All their foods don't have to be, but Caesar salads do have to be made.
Okay, I'm going to give you a pet peeve of mine, Nick.
Yeah.
There's a pet peeve of mine when I walk into any place, restaurant or otherwise, when someone says, like, you walk into Friendly's and it says EST 1905, or you walk into Bobby Valentine's restaurant and he says, we invented the wrap.
Yeah,
he does, and he actually thinks he invented the wrap now with American ingredients. And it's like, here's what I've always found out about this, and you only find out because you watch the Food Channel, right? This guy who thinks he invented the Caesar salad, which again, it was invented in ancient times, but he thinks he invented it in the United States. But somebody else was probably doing it at the same time or before him on a completely other side of the country, and they just didn't know the other one was doing it because nobody communicated. There was no way to find out, and it was like a local thing. That's the issue I have.
I know, and I don't disagree with you at all. So let's see. So the Kings, that game's tonight, right?
Yeah,
game's tonight. Okay, so we'll know after tonight exactly what's happening.
And we have to say this, and I'll just say it one more time for posterity's sake. The NHL has really dropped the ball with this Calgary-Vancouver thing, with these games that are meaningless. Edmonton-Vancouver on Saturday. I understand the reason why, because of advertising and team commitments. It's bunk. It's bull crap. You should have started the playoffs all at the same time instead of staggering it. If you look at the schedule that was just released, like I specifically Montreal, Toronto, but I'm sure Edmonton and Winnipeg have the same thing. Games 3 and 4 of Toronto, Montreal at the Bell Center, back to back, Monday, Tuesday. This isn't 1979 where you play 4 games in 5 nights.
Right.
It's crap. So you're going to have teams that have gone through a grueling 56 game schedule. They get 2 or 3 days of rest in between the first round series, and then they're going to be playing what? Let me see, 4 games in 6 nights. Give me a break. I mean,
the worst thing to me are games like the games that I really have a problem with right now are like the Toronto game on Friday. The games where both these teams have made the playoffs, and it's like, and there's nothing to them at all as far like last night's Montreal Edmonton game, the same thing. These things are just like they're thousands of miles away from your home. These games are really like just completely ridiculous to be playing them. I think.
The Toronto series is Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday.
I mean, these teams have the money. Couldn't they just pay off these television deals and say, okay, you know what?
They won't do it.
It's amazing. Just like give them $100,000 and say, here's the advertising money.
How about this? Float a credit to next year.
Yeah, or something like that, and then protect your players and everything like that. I don't see it. I don't know why. But anyway, I guess that's where we are. So
it's gonna be confusing. If you're like 8 years old and you just became a hockey fan, good luck for dad trying to explain that to you why that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I do think there was a bit of a. It just feels like there's a bit of like we're going to play 56 games come hell or high water feeling going on here, And
I told you it's just so in the annals there's
something to be said for that. I mean, it's like not letting the virus beat us. I don't know. There's something to be said about that. I guess I don't know. I don't want to judge, but I think that it's kind of like
the flu beat them once. It's in the annals. What are you going to do?
So
beat us last year for sure.
I just quickly scanned all the schedule for all 8 playoff series, and the only series that has back-to-back nights are the 2 in the North Division. Games 3 and 4, Toronto, Montreal, and games 3 and 4, Edmonton, Winnipeg are Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday and Sunday, Monday. The rest of the schedule, there's rest days or travel days in between. Thank you very much, NHL.
Yeah. Okay. I think I mean, I don't know. So one thing I did bring up today, which is funny because I put it posted today in my blog because I really just like you said. I mean, these games are going on. I don't want to write about. The writing about these games right now seems ridiculous. I'm looking at my predictions, getting to my predictions. So I'm like, what am I going to write about today? And it dawned on me when someone saw Cam York the other night at the Flyers game. They said to me that he has the Austin Matthews mustache. All right, and I'm like, so it occurs to me.
I think Matthews is actually better, if I had to say.
It occurs to me like Matthews, I was trying to think, and I looked through a mustache website as to what not different mustaches are called. I mean, we know the basic ones, and I tried to find the best name I could for Austin Matthews mustache.
The David Niven mustache. That's
No. I call it the Nacho Libre mustache.
Okay.
What turned into the Nacho Libre? I think he started it looked like David Niven, and then it turned into that.
I believe he was asked when he first had the mustache, why, and he said,
right.
Well, it's to celebrate his Mexican heritage. His mother is Mexican, and
that's a cool thing. And I'm not disparaging it. But is it cool? Is it really a cool mustache? Is my question.
It looks like if I showed my graduation picture from 1985, where I was trying to grow a mustache, but I was at that point where I couldn't. My mustache looked like Austin Matthews.
But who had one? I mean, there were like 5 kids in high school that had
You're
a
high school mustache guy, Mike. Mike was a high school mustache guy.
I know. No, there was very few of them.
Yeah, that was very few. To me, it's Salvador Dali. That's what a mustache is. That's the best I can think of. That's what it looks like to me. Like I was trying to think of the best name I could. So and I never seen anybody else with it in the NHL. And I get the Mexican thing.
Crosby's. I think you forget Crosby was very scruffy at the beginning.
The Crosby's was because he just couldn't do any better. Like Matthews is just purposely keeping a very thin,
pencil.
Almost a pencil mustache, or like that one cartoon character, I can't think of his, oh man, I can't think of him. Anyway, somebody else.
Snidely Whiplash.
Who was the cartoon character that had like the top hat, here we go.
Snidely Whiplash, who used to twirl the mustache.
Here we go. Or the magician from Frosty the Snowman. The magician from Frosty the Snowman. There we go. That's what I'm thinking of too. Anyway, so But when I saw Cam York, I'm like, whoa, Cam York is sporting the same mustache, right? So I'm thinking, and another guy who's like, and I don't want to say that, Pete, in the chat room. That's not what we're trying to say. But the one guy who is Cam York he's another American hockey player. Is he following in Matthews' footsteps? So it's very fun.
So you were going to say Americans don't grow as good at mustaches as Canadians? Is that where you are?
Is that Mike? That is your picture?
That is my picture. That is Mike Agello with the Austin Matthews mustache.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you're fine. Strapping young man you were there.
I would say it took me to about the age of 21 just to get something like that.
Yeah. I still can't grow a mustache, I don't think.
We should try. We should have a mustache challenge.
No,
I've already won. Sorry.
Expressly forbidden in this house. And no, they're not allowed to have mustaches. There's no way.
You need to go and buck that. What do you mean it's forbidden?
Oh, no, I'm not bucking that. No. Why would I want to? That's ridiculous.
Boris Badenoff.
There you go. That's who I was thinking about.
Boris
Thank you.
Badenoff. Okay.
That's what I was thinking of. I knew someone would get it. Awesome. So I know this is a ridiculous thing to talk about, but I was wondering if, perchance, like this was going at the beginning of the year, I kept saying to myself, well, any other player, because this is Austin Matthews. He's a influencer in hockey terms. Is any other player going to follow suit? And damn, if Cam York doesn't follow suit the last 3 games of the season.
They know each other, so
They know each other, and Cam has the same thing now. And I totally respect the Mexican heritage thing. That is a cool thing. And obviously, you don't see as much as in hockey because you don't see very few Mexican people in hockey. So this was it's a really interesting thing. The playoff beard for acting. Nope. Patreon. Yeah.
I think we should use Patreon for that.
10 of you guys come up with $100 a piece. I will grow a beard during the playoffs. That's it.
No more. I'll shave my beard.
Yeah. $5,000 you'll shave your beard. No, my beard. First of all, and my wife. This is nope.
Listen, I'm married over 30 years. My wife doesn't even know what I look like without a mustache.
Well, that's cool. Does she like having you with a mustache? I mean, that's like, all right. See, some people just like that. Some people don't.
But like now, I have to shave my beard because I got lazy the last few days. But not the whole way, but just have to trim it. Yeah. There you go. All right. So there we have. I just wanted to bring that up for a second, but let's get back into some hockey. For more interesting things. And I think we should talk a little bit about, we have a lot of things to predict here. I think we should go with Pittsburgh and
with all these series that are starting, that are starting on Saturday and Sunday. I think we should actually, do something today. Like I think we should do some today.
Sure.
starts on Saturday.
East starts on Saturday, so let's at least do the East today because that's worth.
Yeah,
doing.
I think we need to do the East. I agree.
So because tomorrow we'll have Kevin, and hopefully we can do the rest of them. But and let's also going back in time. Last year, I went back to the first round of the playoffs last year. Mike got 4 of 8 right. Okay, Russ had 5 of 8 right. I had 7 of 8 right.
Wait, what? What?
The playoff first round.
You?
No,
you
I
acted
7,
like yesterday, like you.
No, I said I had 7 of 8 right. That's more.
Oh, you said 7. I thought you said 4. Sorry.
7. Okay. I had 7. Mike had 4. You had 5. Okay. Kevin had 5.
I was better than that.
So this year we're gonna see who can win the first round. I had a really good first round. I also went like undefeated in the play-in round too. I was like on fire in the beginning.
Yeah, play-in. I remember you got everything right.
But then the last, I actually was really interesting. The only team that I was getting wrong the entire time was Dallas. I kept picking against Dallas, and they went. But that was the only team. So anyway, let's start now with let's get right into this. Capitals Bruins series to start with, right? Is that what we want to start with? Let's start there. Yeah, that's the first game that we're going to see on Saturday.
I'll start with this.
You want to start with it, Mike? Go ahead.
Because I look at the Capitals and the things that have come out recently, and it's a house of chaos with Kuznetsov, with there's
Anthony. By Anthony too. Wow.
Yeah. Hey guys, how are you?
Wise cameo by Anthony.
We're doing East predictions.
Just joined in time.
Yes. Like we haven't done that before.
We just talked about Austin Matthews' mustache for 30 minutes, but now we're talking about this. Yeah.
Oh, I expected that out of Michael.
That was from me.
That was from Act.
Cam York was sporting. Cam York is the first player to sport the Austin Matthews mustache, which I was wondering.
We're trying to raise funds to get Eck to grow a mustache since he's not allowed to.
No, there's no way my wife would be okay with that, and I'm not okay with it. So no, it's not happening.
So
continue.
I look at Washington, and they're a house of cards right now with the whole Kuznetsov situation, with the uncertainty in goal, with Vanacek and Samsonov, with the Tom Wilson situation. Now I know that he had the knee hit, but he came back, so I don't believe there's a problem. But Ovechkin missed a couple games due to injury, so there's a lot of question marks. And since the deadline, Boston was a team that had a lot of uncertainty, but since the deadline, since adding Taylor Hall, since they get Rask back, since their defense got healthy, they've been really good. So I've and they're still, even though they're not the team that got to the Cup final a few years ago, they're not the team that won in 2011, obviously. There's still that core group there. There's still that perfection line. There's still some good young defensemen like Grzelcyk and McAvoy and Carlo. I think they're going to beat Washington. Washington to me is a confused team right now. So I'm going Boston in 6.
Boston in 6. All right, Russ, why don't you give it a shot here?
Yeah, like Funky's writing, this is the Chara revenge factor. I agree that Chara will be out for revenge, but I also watched a lot of the Capitals and think that Chara and Dillon are like their only good defensemen. Carlson's good at what he does, and then you got Chara and Dillon and not much else. And that, I think, is a big problem for the Capitals that doesn't really get talked about because they get through the regular season. I also think their goaltending is a little up in the air. I can't – if I'm going to say Vanacek is their better goalie, that really goes against everything that I thought about Samsonov. But since the ATV accident, Samsonov hasn't been the same. And
do we know who's going to start game 1 for them?
No, I don't even know if we know. Like that part is up in the air. I look at the Bruins, and like Mike said, they've been better. Everybody's healthy. I also think that Taylor Hall has made a difference for them. And I don't think we're seeing Jeremy Swayman in net in the playoffs unless Rask gets hurt. I want to make that very clear to all the Bruins fans out there.
In
the end, though, I'm still going to go Boston in 5 because I think this Caps team is falling apart at the wrong time.
And just add this in for the Bruins, a guy that hasn't played all year, Kasha may be back for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a maybe. I can't even believe he'll be in there.
I know, but I mean,
they talked about him for every week of
the season. He's a whisper.
He is a whisper.
Yeah. That's not much to it.
And I'm utterly, surprised that Russ didn't mention, Nick Jensen is, come on.
What do you think, Anthony? Where are you going with it?
I'm going Boston in this series as well. I have my concern. And again, this is accounting for the fact that, usually the first year under Laviolette, you get pretty good returns. But there's just something that's off about this Caps team as it's coming down the stretch. And I think Boston's additions were good where they got them. I think the Riley acquisition might, again, in terms of just giving them depth defensively. We'll see again, and I'm going to take into account also, I think Tuukka after having to bow out of the bubble last year.
Yep.
And how that kind of threw things for a loop. I think he probably is going to have it. He's going to have a burn his salad to really perform well. So for me, I have the Bruins in 6.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you guys. I'm kind of in the same boat. I do think that the Bruins made a heck of a move. Getting the players they got at the deadline, and they are already a team that has a definite. I mean, these are the two teams probably that have the most swagger in the whole division.
So you can make a good decision. Bill C., who's a Bruins fan, said Kasha just played and didn't finish the game.
There you go. This feels like a really it feels like a messed up year for the Capitals. They are very inconsistent, and this series has been crazy. Like if you look at the games these guys have played each other this year, I was checking it out. It's really kind of nuts. Like on April 11th, the Capitals beat the Bruins 8-1. On April 18th, the Bruins beat the Capitals 6-3. So it's like, and then recently, just a couple of days ago, the Capitals beat the Bruins 2-1. So, I mean, where this goes, I think there's more swagger to the Bruins to the Capitals than you guys are maybe giving credit. I think they might have a little bit more in the tank than we think, but at the end of the day, the Bruins are just the Bruins. They find ways to win. They really do, and you got to beat the Bruins. The Bruins aren't going to beat themselves, put it that way, and the Caps won't be able to do that.
I mean, I'll lay it this sec. I think in the locker room, Laviolette needs to throw a borscht jar against the wall, not jelly.
I got a better idea. Have Zdeno do it.
Yeah, right.
Char again. It's got to be a big thing. Maybe just a picture of like him as a Bruin and just putting all the stuff in the past. I'm putting my stuff into the past here. Yep. Let's just go. And that could be a factor maybe.
I do wonder about that, Anthony. I do wonder if Chara sits back and says, well, this is the one thing that you got to do to to Brad Marchand to make him crazy. Like this will make him absolutely insane. If there's something like that in the back of his head, that's what I want to know. Like is there one thing?
If Chara goes into the corner with Brad Marchand, he's gonna just leave a smudge there. That's all that's gonna be.
Yeah. So
he's slippery though. Marchand is slippery though. He is slippery.
Oh, yes, he's very slippery, and he just has the ability to.
Rats usually are.
Yeah. So I'm saying 7. I'm going to say 7. I'm going to give it 7. I think the Caps are going to be more better than they should be, but I really don't. I don't see any way the Caps win this. I don't. I really don't. All right, so then let's go to the other one, the Islanders and Pittsburgh. This is a different.
We'll let you go first on this, Zach.
Me go first on this one?
Yes.
All right, sure. Why not?
It's called bait.
It's called baiting me. All right. I was going to bring up. I like to always look.
You can bring up all your points. I'm
bringing up my stat. I'm bringing up my notes. Usually is what I do here. I actually
that's fine.
Notes. Okay. So we talked about this before, and I've mentioned this a couple times. You guys, everyone's baiting me because you guys know that I'm not a Penguins guy, right? So. And the crazy thing about that is
don't let that influence you.
It's not because I'm a Flyers guy, because there have been many seasons when I have picked the Penguins to win the Stanley Cup and to win playoff series. Like I usually like the Penguins team a lot more than I like this particular Penguins team. You're looking at two great coaches here, though. Like bottom line is like these are like two of the best. Like that's going to be a fun thing to watch. Like Sullivan and Trotz, there's going to be a chess match going on there, because this is, again, like I've always said, the Penguins prefer to be a counterattack team, and they're playing the ultimate counterattack team in the Islanders. So if Penguins cannot sit back and do what they like to do, they have to attack. And because if they sit back, the Islanders will win every 1-0 game. That's the bottom line. They have the better goaltending. They've got the better defense. The Caps, so the Penguins have to attack. The Penguins cannot sit back on the Islanders. I'm not, and the Islanders have slipped, to fourth place, which is really surprising in a lot of ways. They've definitely fumbled, but I think, if they were going Sorokin, it would be a different story. But anyway, they're not going to stay with Sorokin here. We're going to see Varlamov to start the series for sure. But I wonder if we see Sorokin in the series. I do. I wonder if we get to that point, because if they're not, if the Islanders aren't winning yet, if they're facing a couple games down, they got to make that switch, because he's going back and forth all year, and Sorokin's been pretty much the same, pretty much the same, if not better at times. At the end of the day, I think the Islanders are going to take it in 7. I do. And I know I'm going to get killed for that, but I really do think that the Islanders are just a better team. They're a better team overall. So that's my deal. And he's
I for one am shocked that you picked the Islanders.
We'll go to you, Russ. Go ahead.
Okay. Totally shocked.
Totally shocked. Yes.
I don't think the trade has worked out. The acquisitions for the Islanders has worked out as well as I thought it would for them, and definitely hasn't worked out as well as they thought it would. Even if you thought Zajac was going to be just an absolute depth player and just sit around, Palmieri hasn't added what we thought he'd add. Now maybe he'll add it in the playoffs, but we don't know that yet. They still have trouble scoring. They have great defense. They have really good goaltending. They're definitely preserving Varlamov, so they're gonna go with him. Even if he were to lose 2 games, I still think they'd be going with him. I think only Sorokin gets in there is if they really feel like Varlamov is just playing his worst hockey ever. And that's not a slight to Sorokin. I just think it's about experience. I look at the Penguins, and this is as good as the Penguins' offense has looked in years. Their defense is just good enough. It is. Guys like Marino have played really well. I think Marcus Pettersson is still pretty good, and Dumoulin's good. Like that's enough to keep you afloat when you have this kind of offense. And I think Tristan Jarry, everybody who was worried about him really shouldn't be worried about him. He's been really good down the stretch here. So I think I think something that helped them turn the corner this year was when I think it was the first game for Hextall. It wasn't the first, it was the second. And when he claimed Friedman and Friedman scored a goal and they beat the Flyers, I think that put a little jolt into his club. I do. And I do think they've been playing a lot better ever since. I don't think it's a magic pill that all of a sudden Hextall and Burke were there and they just got better. Yeah. I just think little things like that started to build for them. And I think they started to play better hockey. And then the acquisition of Carter was a really good acquisition. Like that, you can't
I agree with that.
To management for, because that was really good. And they didn't really give away anything for this draft, which they said was a focus, because they didn't have enough picks. So end of the day, I really do like the Penguins. I'm going to go Penguins in 7 because I do feel like the Islanders will give them a good series. I think this will be a very tough series for the Penguins to win, but I think they'll win it.
Okay. Anthony. All right. Anthony, why don't you go?
It was a tough one for me. And again, the biggest concern I had with the Islanders was that their March mirrored their March last season, but they had the benefit, the Islanders, of time away, if you want to call it a benefit, and then being able to kind of reset once they got into the bubble. In this case, this is in a more of, I don't want to call it a normal setting, obviously, because it's anything, but it's mirroring that and having to go into the postseason when you're not clicking as well as you should be. And again, I'm surprised at how much Kyle Palmieri has struggled fitting in on the Islanders, at least from a scoring perspective. We'll see if he comes loose. Pittsburgh, and as I'll mention on in other places, Penguins defense has surprised me this season a lot. I mean, Cody Ceci, who I think we all kind of pooed, he's been solid for them. He's been, and that's stretched their defense. Whereas before, I would have had a lot more concern about the Penguins, if it was like last season. So they've gotten better performances out of their blue line. Jari's been good. We'll need to see, obviously, their goal. If Jari but one thing I do worry about with the Penguins that I haven't mentioned is Jari goes down, I do become concerned about their goaltending beyond. That's fair.
Yeah.
But if he's healthy and good for the whole series and can help through, then the Penguins have as good a chance as anybody to come out of the East Division to be in the conference semis. But so I'm going to say Penguins. I'm going to say the Penguins will win the series. Penguins in 7. They'll be stretched, but I do think they win it.
Okay, Mike, what do you got?
Well, I mean, the thing with the Islanders is that, I mean, they really, even with that trade, didn't address the scoring, or it still is not. It's still an issue for them. And you can only say in hindsight 2020 that Lou made the mistake of not ponying up for Hall. But the thing is that Hall, maybe wouldn't have scored as many goals as he has in Boston without a guy like Krejci. There's not a center who's a playmaker other than Barzal, and I don't think he was going to get top line minutes with the Islanders. So the Islanders are what they are. We know they're a Barry Trotz team. They play shutdown. They play tough hockey. They've got that third line, that fourth line that just grinds you into the ice.
Yeah.
They can win a playoff series. We saw how they did it last year. The question is, do they have enough scoring to beat Pittsburgh? If Pittsburgh is on, and they weren't on last year, they were a team that reportedly wanted so out of the bubble that essentially they just didn't show up against Montreal. So I think different this year. I think the addition of Carter helps their depth. Now they get Malkin back. Letang has had one of his better years. Everything seems to be in the right place with the Penguins. I do realize there are some questions. We don't know about Jari, and we're going to find out. But I think there are less question marks with the Penguins than there are with the Islanders, and that's why I'm going with Pittsburgh in 7.
Okay. I mean, one of the things that's interesting here in the last 2 years for the Penguins in the playoffs, the last 2 playoff rounds, which you count the bubble, which was a play-in round, but still not technically the playoffs. The year before that, they get swept by the Islanders. Remember? So they're 1-7 in their last 8 playoff games. And they've scored 14 goals in 8 playoff games. The Penguins, which is just they have really been. So I do think that, and these are all the same, basically the same players. I think that what has to happen here, the Penguins have to get out to a strong start, or that will start to happen. Like if they lose a game 1-0 or 2-1 in the first
game, frustrated.
Yeah, they're gonna remember that the playoffs how bad they've been in the last 2 playoffs because they've been terrible in the last 2 playoffs.
Yeah, but I think that's where Carter's going to help, and I think that's a big difference there. He's going to the net.
No, and he's got a good playoff career behind him. So I agree that there's
remember Hornquist was the last guy that went to the net for them. So
yeah. And the year before that, they went down pretty easily to the Capitals too after winning in the first round. So they've lost 3 straight playoff rounds. I mean, it's not a big deal, but this is a Penguins team that a lot of people think is the next best thing, and this is their offense has looked really good. So I don't know. I think we're all close. I mean, we're all like basically at 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think it's a tale of one season, Eck. I think next year the Penguins are still going through with their retooling, and they couldn't turn away on this one because they knew they were close. And they knew if they got Carter, they could be in the mix. So why wouldn't you try, right?
This was Hextall's original plan with the Flyers. When you think about trying to retool on the fly, the difference is the high-end talent on the team allows you to transition in this manner.
It's very different. Yeah, it's very different what he's got here. There's no question about it. I mean, which brings me to one question about this division in general, because I've had this debate with people because people are like, oh, this division's so strong, it's really good. Is it? I mean, is this division really good? I mean, in the past, it has.
I think it was really good to start the season. I don't think it ended the season and looked really good.
I think that's fair.
I think of the 4 divisions where I think 3 of them have a weakling at the bottom at 4th place. The East doesn't have a weakling. I think the Islanders could win a series. I think Washington. Yeah. Pittsburgh, they're all solid teams.
You could see any of those 4 teams in the Final Four.
I can't see St. Louis getting out of the West. I mean, I give them all credit for making the playoffs, for beating out Arizona, for turning their season around. I can't see them getting through Colorado and Vegas.
Yeah, I can't see Nashville, Montreal, Winnipeg. I can't see those teams getting in the Final Four.
Whereas I think the East is solid 1 through 4.
No, and I think Anthony has a good point. Anthony Kennard, not Anthony. Is that he said, the teams have been killing each other all year. We knew that would go on in certain divisions, and it definitely has gone on in the East.
It's definitely gone on in the East, but I don't when I watch these teams play, and we've watched them a whole lot, right? We've seen them a whole lot. I don't
much.
I feel like I feel like that there's just such big weaknesses on all 4 of these teams in different places that usually you just don't see in a Stanley Cup team. Like I can't see any of these teams winning the Stanley Cup. Like in my opinion, I don't know. Is that you guys agree with that? Or do you guys think
I'm not ready to go there yet.
Nope.
Yeah.
I have my feeling on who I think is going to win the cup, but I'm not ready to go there yet. Saying they can't win it because I'm going to pick some team to face this other team that I like.
And again, with the semis being the way they're set up, I mean, it's a reseed of 1-4 when you get to the the conference. So you have no idea,
right? You don't know who's coming out of these divisions,
right? No, that's for sure. But I mean, if I think about the teams that I think could come out, like I think who's the best? To me, the best team in this division is Boston. Now, whether or not they get through this or not, that to me is. But if I look at Boston versus Toronto, I don't like Boston's chances, and I know that's a terrible series that Mike never wants to see happen. But I want that I don't like their chances.
Not on this painful anniversary. Don't even go
on this painful.
I want it for the Cup final. Is what I want.
That would be something,
I want maximum mental carnage.
Yeah,
I
don't see Boston beating Tampa in a series. I don't see Boston beating Colorado or Vegas.
And Funky's right. I did pick the Habs preseason to win the Cup, but guess what? We get to change our minds.
Anthony, you're such a loving friend. Now, a couple notes here. I always believe that these social media stories are a bunch of crap. But in the wake of the comments that he made on Monday about sort of being ambivalent about returning to Buffalo, the fact that Sam Reinhart unfollowed the Buffalo Sabres just feeds into the narrative. Now,
but I think you know what that is. I can give an explanation for that, even though there's still a good chance he doesn't want to come back. The explanation is he just doesn't want to hear it from the Sabres fans who are really pissed off right now. And if you follow the Sabres, you're going to see that on your timeline.
Yes,
I think that's what it's more about.
That is possible. Now,
I think that's probably more like that.
Or the other option is just don't pay attention to your social media.
But they do,
and then not send that signal.
Or learn the mute button. Right. Like learn the mute button. There is a mute button out there. You could easily mute them.
Here's the funny thing: players will always tell you, "I don't read that. I don't pay attention to anything. I don't do that." Yeah. But they do.
Everybody does. I mean, I can't. There's no one who.
They don't read the paper. They don't listen to the radio.
But they do.
If someone is talking to about any of us on the radio or on television, we would be watching it. It's like you cannot, or you would try not to. I'm sure, and there would be points at which if it was really awful, you would turn it off. But you would definitely know what the hell they're saying. You would be hearing about it. You'd be knowing what's going on. So there's no way. I mean, very few people. I mean, it always amazes me.
The Anchor Bar does not have a handle on Twitter. There's another bar called the Anchor Bar, and it's not that one. Just so people know.
There is legitimately players in the NHL who do not have any social media presence at all. But even some of those guys have. But
they have burner accounts, so they can see what's going on out there.
They're keeping an eye on it too. Yeah, they just have to.
Now, last night at the end of the, I believe it was Vegas San Jose game. Patrick Marleau came out on the ice and waved out, which I would think means that this is it. That he's
further on that, Mike. Today, I don't know if you were following the Hockey Hall of Fame thing, but it's pretty interesting.
I saw that. That was cool.
So this was really cool. Gordie Howe's family. So the stick that Gordie Howe played with in his final game in the NHL is in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Because he's played the most amount of games. That stick has been was sent to Patrick Marleau, basically saying, congratulations. The Gordie Howe stick is now owned by Patrick Marleau, and Marleau's stick from last night was sent to the Hockey Hall of Fame by the San Jose Sharks. So that's a pretty good sign that that's the last game he's playing. I think that if you want to go any further, I don't think you have to go much further than that, right? I mean,
no, that's awesome.
And I think it's really cool that Marleau's stick's going to be in there. But there's one uncool thing about it. Gordie Howe's stick looks really awesome. It's like old white. It's like an old. It's like
trade in like a cool old stick
it's a wooden burned out stick, with all kinds of slashes on it. Patrick Marleau's stick is like composite graphite, shiny. I like the old one.
Now there are some people in the chat that are saying that Marleau intends to play next season. That wouldn't really be consistent with what happened last night.
Right.
Why would he be waving to the crowd, waving to his? I don't know, unless he's going to be a part-time player next year and he's going to sign off on the consecutive game streak that he's going. I don't know. I
don't expect.
I expect him to retire. I really.
The consecutive game streak is actually
he's behind Yandel.
It does become a little bit of a burden on a team. We saw it this year. We saw it with Yandel in Florida this year. I mean, it's just like if you're not happy with what a player's doing, you can't scratch him if he's played that many games in a row, or else you look like total jerks. Yandel turned it around. Yandel had a hell of a game, hell of a season. And I mean, from what I'm told there, that something happened there with Zito and Yandel and Quenneville that would give Zito the GM of the Year award if everyone knew exactly what it was.
So here,
because he did something there to get that turned around.
Real quick, here is the quote from Patrick Marleau. This is coming from Curtis Pashelka.
Yeah.
This is from actually 12 minutes ago, actually. Marleau on his season, how he wasn't happy with his play at times. Quote, there were some pretty sleepless nights with that, but I'm looking forward to a rebound season next year, end quote. Wow. Doesn't sound like a retirement party is in the quotes.
Not yet.
Is in the works, I should
say. Maybe he was waving because he's going to have to play in Seattle or someplace else and not in San Jose.
He's going to get to the point like when Trevor Linden, you were just like, why don't you retire, guy? We get it. You love hockey, but
it's not for you to say, Russell. Okay.
Yes,
I'm going to tell you to retire. Let me tell you to retire from covering the NHL for the NHL draft.
I have
you like
right.
it. And nice.
Anthony laying it down. Mic drop, Anthony. Fantastic. No, I think that it isn't, and who knows? And at the same time, I do know that Marleau is totally tied into the San Jose area, and I would have a hard time imagining he would leave it again. Like I know leaving it once to go to Toronto.
He had 9 points in 56 games. 9.
Yeah. I know, and that to me, that's the issue. Is
it says I am looking to it. So as of right now, he intends to play. Now, if there is nothing available to him, and it becomes obvious that teams are telling him we're really not interested, then maybe at that point we get into the fall, November, maybe November or so, December.
In 1920, he had 22 points. Like I don't want to be that guy, but somebody has to be that guy, and clearly Anthony won't be that guy. So it'll be
it's not for me to tell Patrick Marleau. It's for the NHL general managers to tell him that. If I was an NHL general manager, I probably wouldn't be signing him, but that doesn't mean he isn't going to try to look for other opportunities to play.
Funky in the chat room saying Thornton's even worse, that he won't go away either. No, Thornton has always been way more willing to leave San Jose.
Yes, I think Thornton will leave.
Than Patrick Marleau. So Thornton already left, obviously, but Thornton in Toronto. I mean, that was inevitable in a lot of ways. And where Patrick Marleau definitely had so many chances to leave to go to other places and didn't.
He did.
The Leafs apparently came very close to getting both Thornton and Marleau at the same time, but Thornton got paid more than he would have been paid in Toronto by San Jose once Marleau left.
Yeah, that was the plan then. That was the plan.
Just a couple other things here.
Yep.
Some news from Andrew Marchand of the New York Post regarding the NHL. The play-by-play and commentators for ESPN and Turner. Russ, former Ranger Ryan Callahan has been signed by ESPN.
Look, I like Callahan. I think he's got a nice way about him. He's a little boring. I think he needs to spice it up a bit. But I think he might. This was his first go-round at it.
Turner has hired Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk as their main announcing team.
Yeah, that's a good team. No argument.
That'll be fine. That'll be good.
ABC ESPN has added Ray Ferraro and Brian Boucher as their analysts. From what I understand, Ferraro is still going to stay with TSN in Canada. It's going to be like he was TSN ESPN back in the day.
Oh, they are actually.
Yeah, so that's a natural.
I'm fine with that too. Those are good signings.
But right now, ESPN ABC, their leading candidates for the main broadcast is Steve Levy and Sean McDonough.
Sean McDonough, I don't see as a hockey guy. No. I don't think anybody sees him as a hockey guy.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I would say, I mean, Levy to me is a slam dunk. But McDonough, who could, he's a cure for insomnia. When he calls games, and when he tries to raise his voice, it sounds like
and I'm sure they're going to go back and say, "Hey, look, he was an ECH." It doesn't matter.
Now there has been no further information with regards to Gary Thorne. I know Thorne has indicated his interest. Are we talking if he does come back? Would it be like specialty games here and there?
Yeah, I'll bet you
gimmick games.
I bet you anything it's going to be like ESPN Plus games. So, they're only going to have, remember this package, they're only going to have one game on ESPN per week. It's Thursday nights.
It'll be a gimmick game. Like it'll be, Hartford Whalers night. So they'll have Gary Thorne there. They'll do things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to see. I'd love to see Thorne and Clement. I mean, that was the best combination. They
won't bring back Clement, and you know that.
Well, I think Clement doesn't want to do it anymore anyway.
Even if Clement wanted to, they're not going to bring Bill Clement back. You know that.
Yeah, no, in all likelihood, yes, I would.
It's well documented. And I disagree with ESPN. I don't have a problem with what Clement did, but obviously they did.
Guys with ESPN, they're
definitely the most ridiculous thing ever. But yeah,
it is.
For those of you who don't know, look it up.
Doc Emmerich didn't care.
Oh, it was so dumb. But yeah, Clement and Thorne, they were the best. They were the best. EA Sports combination by far when you played NHL.
That was great. They were really great.
They were way better on EA Sports than we've seen since then. So, yeah.
I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because right now the accusations are just there's not a lot there's not a lot of specificity here, but a report out of Chicago yesterday about a player from the 2010 Cup-winning Blackhawks team that is suing the Blackhawks because he accused a coach of sexual assault, and the team didn't do anything about it. It's just an ugly story. I mean, the player hasn't been the name of the player has not been exposed, and it won't because of that type of case.
No, and that's smart not to.
Right, but it's sort of ugly.
It's really
a very ugly story.
No, I hate those kind of things,
Yes.
And there's we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, hopefully, hopefully everybody's okay hopefully the player's okay from the situation, but obviously not, or who knows? I mean, we just can't.
We don't even know if it's a current player or.
Yes, but yeah, to speculate. To speculate is it would be ridiculous. Yeah, it would not be good to go off. But anyway, tomorrow. We'll be back with some really good stuff. We're going to get into the other predictions, obviously, because we had everything else starting over the weekend, except for the North, because they start, next sometime in June, I think, or something like that. They start in June, the playoffs, but but yeah, they're coming up a little while from now. Like Mike said, he's not happy about that at all. And we'll have live coverage next week of those afternoon Vancouver Calgary games. We'll be here every drop of that puck. Talking about it, Mike. I can't wait to cover those games in person.
What are the TV numbers going to be for those games?
It is a wonderful primary color matchup, though. The remaining games should be the Flames wearing their red jerseys and the Canucks wearing their blue jerseys. It'll feel like bubble hockey.
It'll get a -4 rating.
I love that. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. I got bubble hockey right over there. We'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow.